Quebec, with its unique French-speaking culture and vibrant identity, has long been a cornerstone of Canada. But occasionally, an intriguing question arises. Could Quebec ever become the 51st state of the United States? This idea has sparked debates, inspired political movements, and even drawn international attention. In this video, we'll explore the historical roots of this concept, recent discussions and perspectives from both Quebecers and outsiders, including the French government. Buckle up for a comprehensive look at this fascinating topic. To understand the question of Quebec becoming part of the US, we first need to appreciate what makes Quebec so unique. As Canada's largest province by area, Quebec is home to over 8 million people, the majority of whom speak French as their first language. Its cultural identity is distinct, shaped by centuries of history as part of New France before becoming a British colony and eventually a Canadian province. This unique identity has led to a strong sense of nationalism within Quebec. Movements like the Quiet Revolution in the 1960s and the push for sovereignty have demonstrated the province's desire to preserve its language and culture. Yet discussions about joining the US, though rare, occasionally emerge. The most notable moment in this discussion came in the 1980s with the formation of Party 51. This small political party advocated for Quebec to secede from Canada and join the United States as the 51st state. Party 51 argued that Quebec would benefit economically and politically from being part of the US, where states have significant autonomy. Despite its bold vision, the party failed to gain traction. In the 1989 provincial election, Party 51 received just 0.11% of the vote, showing that the idea lacked widespread support. The party dissolved shortly after, but the concept remains a point of curiosity and debate. While Party 51 faded into history, the idea of Quebec or even Canada joining the US occasionally resurfaces. For instance, in December 2024, President-elect Donald Trump made a joking comment about Canada becoming the 51st state. Although it was clearly meant in jest, it reignited online discussions about the possibility. Interestingly, some polls have explored how Canadians feel about closer ties to the US. While most Canadians are proud of their national identity, a small percentage expressed openness to the idea of becoming part of the US. However, these discussions often remain on the fringes, with no serious political backing. If Quebec were to become a US state, the implications would be enormous. Economically, Quebec would have to adapt to the US dollar, federal taxation, and new trade relationships. This could benefit Quebec in some ways, such as access to the US market, but it would also mean losing the protections and subsidies provided by the Canadian government. Politically, the transition would be even more complex. Quebec would need to secede from Canada, a process that would require constitutional amendments and negotiations. On the US side, Congress would have to approve Quebec's statehood, which would likely spark debates about culture, language, and representation. Quebec's ties to France are deep, stemming from its origins as part of New France in the 17th and 18th centuries. Today, France views Quebec as a cultural ally, sharing a commitment to the French language and traditions. French leaders have often supported Quebec's cultural preservation, especially during debates about Quebec's sovereignty. If Quebec were to join the US, it's likely that France would see it as a loss of influence. The integration into a predominantly English-speaking country could be perceived as a threat to the survival of the French language in North America. However, France has historically refrained from intervening in Quebec's political decisions, emphasizing its respect for self-determination. One of the biggest challenges in this hypothetical scenario would be cultural integration. Quebec's French-speaking population would be a stark contrast to the predominantly English-speaking US. While some US states have bilingual communities, none have French as their primary language. This cultural divide could make integration difficult, both for Quebecers and for the broader US. In the end, the idea of Quebec becoming the 51st state is more of a thought experiment than a realistic possibility. Quebec's unique identity and its strong ties to Canada make such a move unlikely. However, the discussions highlight the complex interplay of culture, politics, and economics that shape Quebec's place in the world. What do you think? Should Quebec consider this path, or is its strength in preserving its identity within Canada? Share your thoughts in the comments below.